In this episode, we're going to be stripping down our Chinese diesel heater, giving it a real good clean out, hooking it all back up and seeing if that fixes the problem. G'day guys, welcome back. So a few months ago, you probably remember we went and put a Chinese diesel heater in our camper trailer, and 2 months later it stopped working. It's bringing up a fault code that's E-08, and that pretty much points to a fuel problem. Now, if you've looked into these diesel heaters before, you know these things have a tendency to clog up if you run these things on a really low setting, and I think that's what's happened to us. So in this episode, we're going to be stripping down our Chinese diesel heater, giving it a real good clean out, hooking it all back up and seeing if that fixes the problem. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so first thing you want to do is take the unit itself out of wherever you've got it installed. It's just a hell of a lot easier to work on these things if they're out. You can do it while it's sitting in there, but it's just a bit fiddly. So let's get into it. Righto, so take the unit apart. It's pretty simple, but there's a couple of things you're going to need. So first off, we're just going to take this grey cover off, and we'll start with the air inlet cover. Just screws straight off like that. Then pop the grey cover off. Now it's a good idea as well, if you're doing this for the first time, take some photos as you go through of each step. That way when you go to put it all back together again, you're not going to muck it up. You've got a better idea of where it's going to go. Alright, cover's off. So next step, grab yourself a 532 Imperial Allen key and just crack this 12 volt connection. So this is where your printed circuit board and the control unit is for motors. Take that out. It's just one bolt, one little screw, and just here you've got your clip. So it's going to have to reach in. There's two sides here. You're going to have to squeeze that together and push the unit up, and it pops straight off like so. Now don't just go hell for leather and rip that off. There's two cables you're going to have to disconnect. Turn this over. Now you've got blue and yellow cable over this side. That's for your glow plug, so you want to go ahead and disconnect that little plug. That's a 4-pin plug, and you've also got another little white connector here with a red and black cable. That's for your fan power. So take that out and just leave that aside. Okay, so with the 12 volt panel disconnected, you can go ahead and take your motor out. Just beware, underneath you've got a little rubber gasket here. You have to take that off. So take that off and put it aside. It just makes it a little bit easier to take out. Alright, so once the unit's out, you've got 4 bolts to undo. So 532 again, same Imperial. Because these are Chinese, your measurements are going to be in Imperial, but you've got 4 bolts here, 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 and here. Just got to pop them off, and then we can get into the guts of the motor. Righto, so once that's apart, this is what you're going to be looking at. So this here is your fan. It actually looks very clean in there, so not looking too bad at all. Pretty clean. There's a little bit of build up of something here on the casing of the glow plug, so I might just give that a bit of a tidy up. Not sure what it is, but it might just be a bit of burning or something from excess diesel getting in there, but I'll give that a tidy up as well. Give a bit of a close up, see if that comes through on the camera. But you can see in there, that's the glow plug coming down and into its casing, and then feeding down into the combustion chamber on the other side of this plate. So we've got 4 more bolts to take off. So they're again 532 Imperial Allen keys, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we can take out the whole combustion chamber. When you do get it undone though, don't go hell for leather. Just make sure you slide this little plastic grommet out here. That holds your fuel line, so your fuel line's coming in the side here. Just make sure you ease that out nicely, and take your glow plug out completely. So I'll show you how to take this glow plug out. What you're going to need is just a 12mm spanner, and just very gently try to ease that out. Take this little grommet out of the top, just pop it out like this, and then grab your 12mm spanner and just very gently start threading the glow plug out. Should only need half a turn, quarter of a turn, and then you could just about unscrew it by hand. Alright, so we got it out it comes, and you can see our one is not overly dirty. It's actually pretty good, but just worth giving it a bit of a clean up anyway. So we'll give that a clean before we put it back in. Okay, so now you've just got your 4 532 Allen key bolts. Take all 4 of them out and you can slide your combustion chamber straight out. So with that out, you should be able to slide out this little black grommet on the side. Give you a closer look at that. So this is where your fuel line runs in through the side of the unit. So slide that out and the combustion chamber should just come with it. And funnily enough, ours is pretty clean. It's a little bit sooty, but definitely nothing too major. Now inside where your glow plug sits is diesel atomizer as well. You can take that out, but just looking down there, ours is fairly clean. There's nothing really too wrong with it. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean up inside and out. Give you a quick look in the combustion chamber. So I hope that picks up on the camera. You can see right down to the bottom. There's a little bit of grime and build up right at the bottom, but nothing too major really. So once you've got everything apart, go ahead and give everything a good clean up. So inside your combustion chamber is where you're going to have most of your soot. Ours is fairly clean. It's got a little bit of build up in there, but nothing that should stop it from running. I'm just going to, while it's apart, I'm just going to go ahead and clean all this residue and stuff off the outside of the combustion chamber. I'm just going to do it with a screwdriver and a wire brush, and then give you guys a look before I put it all back together again and hook it all back up and give it a test. Alright, once you've cleaned out your main chamber, you can go ahead and clean out any residue or soot that's building up in between the fins. So all this feeds back to your exhaust. So your exhaust is just down the bottom of this chamber, just down here. We don't have a lot of build up, so I've just given it a quick little wipe out and some unburnt, there's a fair bit of unburnt diesel, so I'm giving that a little bit of a clean, and then I'm just going to throw this thing back together and try to start it up, see if we've still got the same problem. Alright, so now that's been cleaned up, we're just going to put it all back together. Starting first with our fuel line, we're just going to put our little rubber grommet back on. Once you've got that on, go and slide your chamber in. Get it in the right position. Once it's in there, just slide the whole thing in. Your holes should line up without too much mucking around. Go ahead and just put them back in loosely. You want to do the same thing for all 4. Just get them in there snug. Once they're all in, just give them a nip up. Will do. Alright, next, glow plug. We've just given that a bit of a tidy up, so it's nice and clean now. In it goes. Just slide it straight back down and into its housing. And I did find that this one was a little bit loose as well, so I've got a feeling that it could have been leaking a little bit of diesel. Again, don't over tighten it, just nip it up and then get your grommet and push that back down into the casing. A little flat blade screwdriver will help if you don't want to push it down by hand, and it makes it a little bit easier and tidier. There's your combustion chamber back together. Now we've just got to put the fan back on. There is a gasket, mine hasn't actually come off, but there is a gasket just here. If you've taken these things apart a couple of times, sometimes they'll fall off. Just make sure if it has fallen off on you, grab it and put it back in the same position that it goes. Use the air intake at the bottom here as a bit of a guide. And then the 4 bolts that we took off earlier, just chuck them straight in. Alright, so we'll grab the outer case and drop this back into it. It's a little bit fiddly, you'll get it there. Make sure you don't clamp or pinch any cables, and it should just drop straight back in. Okay, once you've got that back in, grab your 12 volt circuit board and make all your connections again. So glow plug clicks in here, fan cable opposite corner to your glow plug, plug that one in there. The red cable goes directly across from your glow plug cable, click your 12-volt panel down, put your last screw in, put your grey case back on, tighten up your air inlet, and last but not least, just chuck your little seal, your little grey seal back on, and that's the unit back together, ready to go in. So I'll chuck this one back in now, start it up, and we'll see if we've got the same problem that we did before. Righto, so I've just got the diesel heater back in place, hooked everything back up, and we're just going to see if this thing fires up. There wasn't too much carbon build up inside the unit, as you guys would have saw us before, but there was a little bit of residue, and the glow plug was a little bit loose, so that sort of led me to believe that there was maybe a little bit of diesel leaking out of the glow plug and burning up on the intake there somewhere. So let's start this thing up and see if it works. Let's come down here and check the temperature of the unit as well. So you guys can see there it's 72 degrees. That's the temperature coming off the little temperature sensor inside the case. So that's the internal temperature of the heater itself. When I was trying to fire this thing up before, that was not getting above 32 degrees. So that's obviously working. There you go, guys. That's pretty much one little problem that can go wrong in some of these cheap Chinese diesel heaters. Sorry I've been a little bit quiet on YouTube as of late, guys. As you can see, we have another little person in the family. So I'm trying to get something of a face. So Nora was born 3 weeks ago, guys, and we've just been really trying to enjoy the time we have. But in saying that, we're back. We've got a little bit of a routine down, so the videos are going to start coming at you weekly. I'm going to try to get them out every Wednesday, so guys, stay tuned. Every Wednesday new videos are coming. If I can't get a video up on that Wednesday, I will let you guys know with a post on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that. But we're really going to kick things back off again this year and get these weekly videos rolling. So guys, if you have any other tips, tricks, or faults that you've seen with these diesel heaters, let me know. Or if you've had a different fuel fault in your diesel heater, let me know that in the comments below, because I always want to find out, you know, how best to use these things. Never really used one before, so it's a bit of a learning curve for me too. But anyway, guys, that's how to fix one small problem with one of these cheap Chinese diesel heaters. Guys, if you got something out of this video, if you learned something, leave it a like, and if you haven't already, I don't know, hit that subscribe button if you want to. Otherwise, whatever. As always, get out and about, and we'll see you in the next one.